Hello everyone, I am Erica Failmar and I'll be talking about the introduction of JavaScript. So JavaScript is a dynamic computer language. It is lightweight and most commonly used as a part of web pages, whose implementations allow client-side script to interact with the user and make dynamic pages. It is an interpreted programming language with object-oriented capabilities. JavaScript was first known as LiveScript, but Netscape changed its name to JavaScript, possibly because of the excitement being generated by Java. JavaScript made its first appearance in Netscape 2.0 in 1995 with the name LiveScript. The general-purpose core of the language has been embedded in Netscape, Internet Explorer, and other web browsers. JavaScript was created by Brendan Eich in 1995 while working at Netscape Communications Corporation. The language was initially named Mocha and later renamed to LiveScript. The name JavaScript was finally adopted as a marketing strategy to leverage the popularity of Java at that time, even though the two languages have little in common. Hello everyone, so next is I'll be talking about the variables of JavaScript. So every variable must be declared before using it or assigning any value. Declaring a variable is just putting a keyword before the variable name. Keywords can be defined simply as a word predefined in the programming language. It has its significance and cannot be used as a variable name. It has a special meaning in a function. So there are three types of keywords for a variable declaration in JavaScript. First is var, second let, and third is const. var var is keyword that used to declare variables since JavaScript was created. It is confusing and error-prone when using variables declared using var. Second, let. Keyword removes the confusion and error of var. It is the new and recommended way of declaring variables in JavaScript. Third, const. Const is a keyword used to declare a constant variable that cannot be changed once assigned a value. So there are differences between var, let, and const. Var is function scope, while let and const are block scope. Additionally, const is used for values that should not be changed, while let is used for variables that may change their value. And that's all. Thank you.
JavaScript is dynamically typed language, which means that variables can hold values of different data types without requiring explicit type of declarations. JavaScript has 8 data types. First is string represent numeric values, both integers and floating point numbers. Second is number, represent numeric values, both integers and floating point numbers. Third is boolean, is represent arbitrary precision integers, allowing for large numbers that can be represented with the number type. Fourth is Boolean, represent a binary value, either true or false. Fifth is undefined. It represents a variable that has been declared but hasn't been assigned a value. Variables declared without initialization are set to undefined. Six is null, represent the intentional absence of any object or value. Seven is symbol, represent a unique and immutable value, often used as subject property case. And lastly is object, represent a collection of k-value pairs, also known as properties and methods. Objects are fundamental data structure in JavaScript.
So, good day class. I am Francis and I am discussing about the operators in JavaScript. Operators in JavaScript are special symbols or keywords that allow you to perform operations on variables and values. They are an essential part of any programming language, enabling you to manipulate and work with data in various ways. JavaScript supports a wide range of operators which can be categorized into several types. These are the several types of operators in JavaScript: arithmetic operators, assignment operators, comparison operators, logical operators, unary operators, ternary operator or conditional operator, bitwise operators, and other operators. These are the examples of arithmetic operators: addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, and exponentation. Examples of assignment operators: assignment assigns a value to a variable, and these symbols performs the specified operation and assigns the result to the variable. Examples of comparison operators: equality, strict equality, inequality, strict inequality, less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. Examples of logical operators: logical and, logical or, and logical not. Examples of unary operators: unary plus, unary minus, increment, decrement, and type of. Example of ternary operator: conditional operator. Examples of bitwise operator: bitwise and, bitwise or, bitwise XOR, bitwise not, left shift, right shift, and unassigned right shift. Examples of other operators: comma operator and instance of. These operators enable you to perform a wide range of operations in JavaScript, from simple arithmetic calculations to complex logical and bitwise manipulations. Understanding how to use them effectively is crucial for writing efficient and concise code. That is all.
So let's talk about control structures and functions of JavaScript. Control structures and functions are essential aspects of JavaScript, allowing you to control the flow of your program and create reusable blocks of code. So here's an overview of control structures and functions in JavaScript. These are the overview of control structures. First, conditional statements, which are if statements, else if statements, and switch. Secondly, loops, which are for loop, while loop, and do while loop. Third, control statements, which are break and continue. And also, here's an overview of functions in JavaScript. Functions in JavaScript are blocks of reusable code that can be called with specific arguments. They are defined using the function keyword. Key concepts related to functions, which are parameters, arguments, return, function expressions, arrow functions, and anonymous functions. So JavaScript's structures and functions provide the foundation for creating dynamic and interactive applications, allowing you to control program flow and reuse code efficiently. Thank you.
Objects. In JavaScript, an object is a complex data type that represents a collection of key-value pairs. Objects are one of the fundamental data structures in the language and are used to group related data functionality together. Number one, key-value pairs. Objects consist of k-value pairs where k is a string or a symbol introduced in ES6. And each value can be any data type, including other objects. Keys are also sometimes referred to as properties, and values can be any valid JavaScript value. Number 2, properties. Keys and objects are used to access values, and they are also referred to as properties. Properties can be added, modified, or deleted from an object after it is created. Number 3, methods. Properties in an object can also hold functions, which are called methods. Methods are used to define behavior associated with the object. Number 4, object literals. Objects can be created using object literals, which is a concise way to define an object. Number 5, object constructor. Objects can be also created using constructor functions, which are functions specifically designed for creating objects. In modern JavaScript, classes are often used to create objects with constructor functions under the hood. Object prototypes. JavaScript objects have a prototype chain which allows them to inherit properties and methods from the other objects. This forms the basis for object-oriented programming in JavaScript. Objects play a central role in JavaScript, and they are used extensively to model real-world entities, organize data, and implement various data structures and design patterns. Understanding how to work with objects is crucial for effective JavaScript development.
The Document Object Model, DOM, Event Handling and Asynchronous Programming. The Document Object Model, Event Handling and Asynchronous Programming are essential concepts in JavaScript, especially for web development. They enable developers to interact with web pages, respond to user actions, and perform non-blocking operations. Let's delve into each one of these topics. Number 1. Document Object Model or DOM. The DOM is a programming interface for web documents. It represents the structure of a web page as a tree-like structure of objects, where each element on the page, such as HTML tags, forms, and text, is represented by a corresponding JavaScript object. The DOM allows you to access and manipulate the content and structure of a web page dynamically. Key concepts in DOM manipulation include selecting elements. You can select elements using methods like getElement by ID, query selector, and getElements by class name. Modifying content. You can change text, attributes, or even add and remove elements using various DOM manipulation methods. Event handling. You can attach event listeners to elements to respond to user interactions, such as clicks, keyword inputs, and form submissions. Traversing the DOM. You can navigate up and down the DOM tree to access parent, child, and sibling elements. Creating and appending elements. You can create new elements and append them to the DOM. Number 2. Event handling. Event handling in JavaScript allows you to respond to user interactions and events triggered by elements on a web page. Events can include mouse clicks, keyboard inputs, form submissions, and more. To handle events, you attach event listeners to elements using functions or anonymous functions. When the event occurs, the associated function is executed. Asynchronous programming. Asynchronous programming in JavaScript is essential for handling tasks that may take time to complete, such as fetching data from a server, writing to a file. JavaScript uses asynchronous mechanisms to ensure that these operations do not block the main thread, allowing the user interface to remain responsive. Common asynchronous patterns and mechanisms include callbacks. A callback function is passed on an argument to an asynchronous function and gets called when the operation is complete. Promises. Promises provide a cleaner and more structured way to work with asynchronous code. They represent a value that might be available now or in the future or never. Async or await. The async and await keywords provide a more readable and concise way to work with promises. Async functions return promises, and await is used inside async functions to wait for promises to resolve. These concepts are foundational for creating interactive and responsive web applications in JavaScript. Mastery of the DOM, event handling, and asynchronous programming is crucial for the front-end web development.